Now, Jayden Daniels winning the Heisman Trophy wasn't a surprise to the sports media world or fans in general. It's pretty much a foregone conclusion, especially what happened after the Pac-12 championship game. But to me, whoever was going to win the Heisman is not the most fascinating storyline with this quarterback class that is absolutely loaded heading into the NFL draft that we know is coming up at the turn of the year. The most fascinating storyline is which one of these quarterbacks will end up being the best NFL quarterback. Now you look at obviously Caleb Williams, Drake May, mentioned Jayden Daniels, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, Spencer Rattler. I can go down the list of quarterbacks that are going to have an opportunity and quarterbacks that are going to get drafted to play in the NFL. But when you look at Jayden Daniels, to me, he has a chance to be the best quarterback in this class. I would put my money on him. And people say, Caleb Williams, he's going to be number one. He will be number one. But here's why I would take Jayden Daniels over Caleb Williams. I think he's a more elite runner than Caleb is. Now, Caleb is sneaky fast. He's shifty. He's good laterally. But let's be honest, Jayden Daniels is on another level running the ball. His acceleration, his lateral movement, his long striding ability once he gets going is something that I think will allow him, even in the NFL, when you're competing against the best athletes in the world, to be able to have that escapability, to be able to run and take off and be effective, and then run the RPO game that we know is slowly infiltrating the NFL. You mix that with Jayden Daniels' ability to pass at all levels. Notice I didn't say throw. Jayden Daniels is not a thrower. He is not Joe Milton. He doesn't just have the fastball. He can throw the fastball. He can throw the changeup. He can take off when he needs to take off. He can speed it up and throw the whole shot against cover two if he has to. But the main reason is I think Jayden Daniels has a little more dog in him than what Caleb Williams does. Yeah, Jayden doesn't paint his nails. That helps. He doesn't cry to his mommy after making fun of somebody for crying in a press conference. What Jayden Daniels did was left Arizona State, where teammates were taking his stuff out of his locker and celebrating it like he was a bad player, went to LSU and absolutely blew it out of the water. And he's tough. The main thing that Jayden Daniels has to learn going to the NFL is something that Anthony Richardson is learning right now, that Lamar Jackson learned pretty quickly. You can be fast, you can be shifty, but you got to be smart. You're not the size of Josh Allen, not even close. We saw him at SEC Media Days. If Jayden Daniels can protect himself and you mix his running ability with his elite throwing ability and his mindset, I think Jayden Daniels is the best quarterback in this class, and that includes Drake May and Caleb Williams. Hey, everybody, the sports world is buzzing right now. Obviously, we got bowl games coming up, the college football playoff, the NFL regular season, college basketball regular season, NHL, NBA. I can go down the list, and it's a lot more fun when you're in on the action. You can get in on it with DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app right now, and when you use our code CRANE, C-R-A-I-N, new customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting just $5 on the NFL. That's only on DraftKings Sportsbook with our code CRANE, C-R-A-I-N. It's not the bird, but you'll be super fly. Remember, with DraftKings, the crown is yours. But my favorite quarterback in any class, sitting to my left, David Cohn, Michigan quarterback, my brother, one of my favorite wide receivers, sitting to my right, Western State, Colorado. David, Heisman, I don't think anybody's shocked that Jayden Daniels won it.
I was surprised it was that close, though.
It was closer. The voting was closer than what I thought. But when you look at this quarterback class, this isn't, I don't want people to think Jayden Daniels is like a Nick Marshall for Auburn, right? Unbelievable runner, elite running, good enough thrower. We've seen Jayden Daniels. The big knock on him last year was that LSU wouldn't push the ball down the field. What did he do halfway through last year? Push the ball down the field. It changed them offensively. This year against Florida State, they played it very close to the best in the passing game. He still threw for 350, ran for over 100. Then you saw them, Mississippi State on, open it up, and the man just took the world by storm. Best offense in the country, in my opinion. Want to give a shout out to his skill players, obviously. But when you look at this quarterback class, is Jayden Daniels number one for you?
Not for me, but congratulations on winning the Heisman Trophy. We spent time with him at SEC Media Days. I love being around him. I love his energy. I love this conversation as well. I find it fascinating, these guys who are going to take the next leap. And this is by far the best quarterback class that we've seen, at least in my lifetime. And part of it is due to the extra eligibility due to COVID. A lot of it is due to name, image, and likeness. Guys can stay an extra year now, and they're getting paid. They don't feel the need to go and be a third or fourth round pick in the NFL guys like Bo Nix coming back. It's been incredible. I still think Drake May and Caleb Williams are those two guys who are going to be franchise quarterbacks right off the bat for teams. Now, I'm not a big fan of the way Caleb Williams has acted a lot off the field, talking about wanting equity in an NFL team. But then again, I don't know how much is coming from him, how much is coming from his camp. He's got a lot of people in his ear, all that kind of stuff. And we just found out that Drake May is not going to play in his bowl game, the Duke's Mayo Bowl. He's going to forego that, get ready for the NFL draft. All this kind of stuff makes sense. I think those guys are NFL, franchise guys, basically. When we talk about Jayden Daniels, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix Jr., 1, 2, 3 for the Heisman Trophy, I think all of those guys have an opportunity to start. It wouldn't surprise me if all 5 of those quarterbacks are starting at the same time in the NFL. And the way Jayden Daniels played this year, the comp is becoming more and more Lamar Jackson.
I agree.
Like, I'd be interested to hear what Blaine has to say in this, and a better thrower. If that's the comp, the way Lamar Jackson has played, I mean, he's an MVP, still playing at a high level despite being injured back-to-back seasons. The question will become, can he take those hits? He's a smaller frame guy, basically a much faster Bryce Young with mobility and all that. Michael Penix Jr. to me throws the best ball out of all these guys in the class. The only thing I'm worried about with him is the previous injuries. Like, people are going to do a deep dive on him into the injuries that he's had. Can he sustain, an NFL season, all that kind of stuff. And then Bo Nix sort of has all of the skill sets that these guys have. Plus, he's played football for a long time. I think he's going to get a shot in the NFL. So I can't wait to see what all 5 of those guys bring to the table. And really, there's another 5 or 10 that are going to go from this year's class who are all going to have a shot.
Yeah. And Blaine, to me, I want to make sure everybody understands. I'm not saying everybody else is going to be a bust. Like Jayden Daniels is going to be the only quarterback that works out. Like David mentioned, I think you could get more out of this draft class from a quarterback standpoint as far as a statistic, longevity, impact group of guys, from a single position more than we've seen in a long time. Blaine, when you look at it, and again, I want to make sure that I emphasize, if Jayden Daniels is smart with his body, he cannot go out there and act like he's acted in college in the NFL, because they will find, it's like the redheaded chick off Wedding Crashers. They'll find you. But when you look at the way the NFL is going, we've seen the RPO leak in and how important, it's always been important for quarterbacks to be able to run. But nowadays, gone are the days where, the pro-style passer, that's what you got to have in the league. You can't have anybody out there improvising. We're seeing more improvising going on in the NFL than ever right now. And Jayden Daniels kind of fits that new mold of quarterback and I agree with RG3 that he was talking about the other day. This is where the game is going, and I think Jayden's a great example of that.
I think Jayden's a complete quarterback, and I think he showed that to you this year. We always have these guys that come into the NFL, like you bring up the Anthony Richardson. It's usually he's a phenomenal runner, but there's something lacking in the past.
Can he become a good thrower?
Is it whether it's accuracy or the deep ball or this or that? And I think Jayden checks all those boxes. And, the thing about Jayden, and you put up the Caleb Williams and the Drake Mays this year, I mean, you could obviously say Jayden had better position receivers this year at their position, but there's not really a lot of excuses you can bring up because Jayden's defense was one of the worst in the nation. I mean, Caleb Williams' defense at USC was terrible, but he really didn't overcome that. Drake Mays at North Carolina, defense was terrible, but he really didn't overcome that. And the thing about it is Jayden Daniels, what you kind of brought up, he's battle-tested, man. He's been through the ringer, went through the Arizona State where he got made fun of, came to LSU, heard all the noise early about he can't push a ball down the field, and he's only grown and grown and grown. So right now, and especially look at the teams that need quarterbacks, right? He's pushed himself into that top 10 pick range into the NFL draft. Yeah. So I do think Caleb and Drake will go before him, but I do think they're all franchise guys. When people look at Caleb can do everything, especially throw off different platforms, right? We've seen that a lot from Caleb. We haven't seen a lot from Jalen because he really hadn't had to do it. I think he can, but Caleb, Drake May, then I put Jayden Daniels at that third spot in the quarterback.
Well, and if I'm Jayden Daniels, yes, I want to shoot up boards. I want to get drafted as high as possible. But, I'm not pissed about being the third or fourth quarterback taken when you look at the teams where you're going to go to. Like, Caleb Williams isn't going to. Jayden Daniels, I wonder if Jayden Daniels could slide into that spot where he's good enough that a team wants to draft him and maybe give him a year to sit behind somebody to get ready, which I think, a redshirt year in the NFL is still the best thing that could possibly happen to you. I wonder if he's going to fall into that category. I've seen him as high as the second quarterback on the board. I've seen him high as number 8 getting taken in the top 10. And listen, we're going to have pro day and everybody's going to freak out and this thing's going to go back and forth, whatever. I would be shocked if he was one of the top 2 quarterbacks taken. But I think that may behoove him in the long run, and whatever team he ends up on, I think will be more ready for him to come in and make an impact. So you're not like Bryce Young sitting out there just, peeing into the wind, which is
and everybody thinks you're a bust after 10 games already.
That's exactly right.
Because of the situation you got drafted to, whereas Jayden Daniels could be much more like a Patrick Mahomes situation where you get an offensive-minded coach like Andy Reid in a smaller market who comes in and says, no, I want this guy and I want to develop the team around him. Remember, Patrick Mahomes didn't have to start that first year. Alex Smith was still there. A lot of these guys could be in that situation. Bo Nix could be in that situation. Michael Penix Jr. I mean, 10 years, 15 years ago, we would have been talking about Michael Penix Jr. probably being the best quarterback to come out of this draft class with the way that he can stand in the pocket and deliver the football. But like you said, the game has changed so much, and the rules being changed to benefit the offense so much. A lot of these mobile quarterbacks are able to have a lot of success. So I'm really excited for Jayden Daniels, man. It was awesome spending time with him. I think he's going to be a real good player in a day and age where we're seeing Dorian Thompson-Robinson start multiple games.
That was my compliment.
Tommy DeVito starting multiple games. Like, all of these guys are going to get chances, right? Because the first-string quarterbacks just go down so frequently. You have to have that next guy up.
Yeah, to me, Jayden Daniels is a much better version of DTR. I think there's some similarities stylistically. Hey, YouTube, it's Jackie from the Lady Ballers, joined by Blair and also DeVita, a.k.a. the Human Tower. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. If you didn't know we had a sports show, well, welcome to the greatest sports show in the history of the planet Earth and other planets surrounding it. So make sure you turn that notification bell on, hit that like button. We really appreciate it. Remember, if you haven't seen Lady Ballers yet, you're one of like 6 people, so go to Daily Wire Plus and check that out.